All right, a quick Auburn football video. I know I haven't put one of these out in I don't know how long. I know there's a couple people that in the beginning of my channel subscribe for Auburn football talk. So I'm trying to give y'all something I've been thinking about for quite a while now, and I just thought I have compile a couple reasons that seem important to me that will make or break this game for Auburn, and more than likely make it. So starting out, as you can see on the screen, Garrett Brown decided to play against Minnesota about I believe 5 days ago now, and I think we all kind of figured based on some of the words we've seen leading up to this speech he put on Instagram here that he was deciding to come back more than likely. But I'm sure people, probably his agent or future agent, amongst other people, probably decided to try to get in his ear and see if he was thinking about not doing that. But obviously he decided to play. And here's a caption I just wanted to say or point out. They're not only facing Derek Brown, they face a slightly slighted and disrespected Derek Brown. I think Derek Brown will have a lot of edge going to this game. Last time to prove that he's better than Chase Young. Lost on a lot of trophies to Chase Young. And, I mean, he came back for, a playoffs, a championship. And, I mean, this is him showing that even though that's not what we'll be playing for, that's the type of edge he intended on coming into the season with. And obviously, I don't need to have too many statistics pulled up for Derek Brown. But, I mean, you look at the guy, 29 solo tackles, 20 assisted tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss. I mean, we're playing a team that is going to be trying to score relatively quickly. We'll be playing a team that intends on airing the ball out, that intends on outscoring us more than likely if they plan on winning this game. And it's going to be tough for them to get many possessions. So, I mean, Minnesota has a really big offensive line, granted, but going into my second point, their style of play is more likely going to lend itself to them being behind the sticks quite often. As we look down to some of their games against better opponents, look at the rushing yards. I mean, only 3.3 against Iowa for their best running back, and a guy I believe was on a couple of scout lists, Rodney Smith. I know he's pretty good last year. I think I had played against him a couple times in fantasy. Minnesota has a couple of good running backs that came on the past few years. But Rodney Smith, obviously, I mean, if you look at some of his season stats, as we go back down here, very favorable season stats. But when you look at this, okay, Iowa, 46 yards, 3.3. They had a couple of guys that got a couple good spot touches, but primary guy getting shut down. We go here. I know they beat the dog mess out of Penn State's defense. Penn State's defense is probably gas from the jump. I'll guarantee that because that's how I was feeling going into it. But they do have a solid run front. Their back end is where it's awful. And as you can see here, 18 attempts, only 51 yards. Ibrahim before him, a good 4.7 YPC. But as you look down at this, a lot of this came from the fact that their passing game opened that game up. 339 yards, 17 yards per attempt, just at 23 touchdowns. I mean, that's when I watched that game. I mean, he was just pitching and catch for the receivers. And just to speak, I mean, I don't want to go too in depth with every part of their roster, but a couple things to worry about is the receiver. I think his name is Tyler Johnson right now. Tyler Johnson, yeah. Tyler Johnson was fantastic. He's been good the entire season. If you go back to right here, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and Rashad Bateman, who has gotten less catches, has almost the same amount. Well, he actually has more yards receiving. So, I mean, he's going to be a crazy threat. If you look at that average right there, sure might be a lot of Sammy Coates or Darius Slayton. He's going to be running out there. But that's really speaks to a point I have later on. But yeah, this is their style of play. They're going to be airing out quite a bit. I don't believe the running game is going to be much to worry about. Last game I had put up was Wisconsin. As you can see from the score, they probably didn't do very much. Ronnie Smith shut down. Shannon Brooks shut down. This Ibrahim dude seems to be their speed sweep guy based on the YPC I'm seeing. But overall shut down run the ball. And then I think what's more important is that their throwing wasn't too successful that day. So it seems like they go as far as the passing game goes. And Tanner Morgan is a good quarterback, but I mean, these are run fronts that aren't even really like that close to Auburn. So I think Wisconsin is good for Wisconsin. I think Penn State's a couple guys that are going to the NFL in their front seven, but I mean, you could realistically say that 5, 6 guys out of Auburn's front seven go to the NFL. So I mean, just stop their running game and we should be fine. My third point, Chad Morris injection to the veins. So as Gus has already came out and said, shout out to Duke Nisk, one of the undefeated teams in basketball, along with us. Not really much article to pull up here, but Chad Morris seems to be implementing not too many plays so far. I think I think Gus will be calling his offense, and Chad will be helping him, and that helps us out a lot in the fact that Minnesota is a not very good defensive team. But when I look at the statistics, let's see if we can find how much they give up rushing. So in defense, they only give up 3.8 yards rushing, which isn't a lot, obviously. But they give up going to passing 185 yards a game, which is, I mean, that's healthy. I mean, that's ideal, I guess. I mean, you have Antoine Winfield, who is definitely going to the NFL, one of the best DBs in the nation, definitely. But I mean, you got to look at this one way or the other. I think Auburn needs to get out the passing game, and Chad Moore is a great, I don't want to say passing game coordinator, but the main thing he'll add to our team is that he is able to throw the ball successfully in all of his previous offenses. Not so much Arkansas, but I mean, who can really coach Arkansas up to be much of anything? So I think it's important to have Morris look at a couple things from hopefully the skybox. Maybe he'll be there with Gus on the sideline, but hopefully the skybox. Look at some of the looks that Winfield and the Minnesota's DC is giving them, and try to adjust it on the fly. Because I know this isn't the best secondary that Bo has faced talent wise, but when you think about LSU down here, Alabama down here, a lot of the SEC teams really haven't been amazing defensively this year. The best secondary Bo might have faced is Georgia, who was able to play man very often. But I like to think that we could adjust to man, hopefully with a lot of quicker routes that aren't just slants necessarily, some rub routes, some quick hitters, quick ends to the middle, hopefully. I know Chad Morris likes the middle. Chad Morris can use the tight ends better, like JJ and Canella better than Gus does. So just some things to throw out there. And number 4, something referring to the Auburn DBs. I believe the Auburn DBs will want to end the game on a high note. A lot of them won't be returning. I think Denson's gone. Daniel Thomas is gone, I believe. Javaris Davis is also gone, I believe. Noah could leave if he wants to. So that's 4 names that could all head out. And for a lot of them, Daniel Thomas and I think Sherwood is, I believe, coming back, right? Yeah, so he's got 2 years down. I think this counts as a redshirt freshman. I think he played 10, never mind. All right, so he'll be back next season either way, though. So I think Daniel Thomas will benefit a lot from a big game here. I wouldn't even say he's really an NFL prospect per se. He's definitely more of an undrafted prospect. But, he does need to boost his stock up quite a bit, and this game could be that for him. I think that Javaris Davis has had I don't want to say a bad past couple of years, but he's definitely been, if you compare Javaris' stock to the first 2 years to his last 2 years, it's definitely night and day. So this could help him being lined up against, he's a nickelback, I believe, so he'll probably not be directly lined up against Bateman or Johnson, but, definitely maybe I know they have a good tight end who could see some work, but he needs a big day, definitely, if he can have it. I think Denson's stock is a lot better than the previous 2 I named, but I still don't think he's necessarily a 3-4 rounds type of guy. Maybe like day 3, as they say, like latter rounds, maybe first to go when it comes to undrafted. I just don't think he had enough stock shown in the first 3 years of his career. This year's been amazing for him, but I think he needed a little bit more initially getting out, starting out, and unfortunately he didn't have that quite exactly. But yeah, I think Noah's stock is. I think if Noah left right now, he'd probably be like a third, maybe fourth round type of guy. I don't think he has much noise behind him. And if you look at his stats, I mean, it's nothing amazing. I think he's like the type of guy that just doesn't get thrown at very often. So I mean, as far as numbers go, there's not really much he can really do to help that. But I mean, all the same, it's more than just numbers when it comes to evaluating DBs. And I wouldn't claim to know everything that goes into that. But I don't think Noah would go out early right now. And I really don't think that it would. I feel like it behoove him to stay at another season where our safety play should definitely be better, and maybe our cornerback play will be better as well. Another year for Roger McCreary, a lot of talented guys coming in, such as Eric Reed, who we recently just gotten. It could be better for him if he returns. So I think all those guys would definitely behoove them to really go off. I don't even claim to know what day that is, but it's January 1st. Anyway, so the last one that I personally am interested in, row the boat. That's my last. That's my last little tidbit. Row the boat. Now, as we go here, and we see, it's big. I mean, the flex. I mean, they've made this bigger than even the team they're exactly playing for. I mean, it's there for Western Michigan as well. Obviously, as I showed earlier, it's big for them. Roll the boat is big for them in general. So who's all right? So PJ Fleck, mantra, roll the boat, going to sacrifice the teamwork. So you see the mental fortitude, you see the courage, you see the character of your team when you gain something exactly the way you want to play or you get challenged. You find a way to win. It shows a lot about your team. So anyway, boom, roll the boat, that nonsense. And if you look at, I believe it's called Raymond James Stadium, there happens to be a very large boat. It's a ship, not an actual rowboat, but it's a ship. Now, a lot of people, a lot of Auburn beat writers and reporters and all that made fun. That's my Chick-fil-A bag. I'm sorry. Made light of the fact that there is a boat in or a ship in the actual stadium that they'll be playing in. I honestly believe that somehow, some way, this guy that we are about to coach against, or Gus is about to coach against, will be using this boat slash ship as an adage to his mantra, add on to it, some kind of way to galvanize the team. And I don't know how he's going to do it, but I believe he will. Anyway, don't be surprised if you see a lot of roller boat shirts out there in Tampa if you do intend on going to the game. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll try to maybe put something else together about Auburn athletics before next football season. Obviously, the basketball season is very enjoyable so far. A lot of the recruits that we got coming in, Sharif Cooper, amongst others, potentially Jalen Green, potentially a couple other names. It's hard to be excited about with Auburn basketball. So maybe I'll do another video, but hope you all enjoy. Peace.